Hello, my name is Arun Mandalia. I'm the Equality Inclusion Officer at NHFT, and today I'm absolutely delighted to have Cath Pendleton, who's the Merthyr Mermaid, joining us, and just so delighted to have her give her talk. Over to you, Cath.
Oh, hi, Arun. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you as well and share the love of my ice swimming.
Excellent. Now, Cath, I've read that you learned to swim at the age of 4. I too learned to swim very early in life, but not at 4. I was 11 and I learned to swim very soon. And soon afterwards, I learned, I swam a quarter of a mile, half a mile, all within a week apart, and had some lovely certificates that they gave out all those years ago. Now, I've been swimming now well over 50 years. So I'm really pleased to be talking to you right now about swimming, passion for both of us. What would you say or give advice to anyone watching who missed out on learning to swim in their childhoods, Cath?
Yeah, I was really fortunate that I learned to swim when I was 4 because they built a pool on the side of my primary school. So everybody in the village swam, and part of the school curriculum, which is a massive thing now that children aren't getting lessons, is that we went every week with primary school. And then because it was so close, we went after school. What I would say to people that haven't learned to swim is it's never too late. I mean, swimming is an essential life skill. You know, I'm not talking about swimming so that you could do laps, and even like you know, getting all your badges week after week is brilliant. It's just being able to swim enough that you could save yourself in a life-saving situation, and also being able to enjoy going swimming with friends when you're on holidays, being able to join the pool, enjoy the sea with your children, with your grandchildren. And luckily there are a lot of adult lessons out there now, so if you were interested, just contact your local pool, or failing that, there's a lot of swim coaches that you could find and get help from. But yeah, it's never too late to give up, to start.
Oh, brilliant, thank you. So your first open swim was in 2013. Mine was at last year, 2021. It was a hot summer, which helped. What inspired you to swim the long distances you have swum? Because I find 1 hour is the longest I can stay in open waters.
Yeah, well, I've always swum, like I say, since a young child, and I swam for clubs, so that was hours and hours of swimming. So I think it's in my blood to do a lot of distance. And even when I left swimming, I've got 4 sisters, and every time we go swimming, whether it's for fitness or, you know, just leisure, I tend to always swim a minimum of a mile. It's been something that we've always said to each other. I did a mile, and then throughout, from about 18 upwards, I discovered swimathon. I can see it on your t-shirt today, Arun. So I started doing some 5Ks and 10Ks, and I've always just, I don't know if I've gone to the pool, I've always swum for an hour or maybe more. And then when I started doing triathlon, all those events were in a pool. And then I discovered that you could do them open water. So with a really good group of friends, I started going to the sea, to the river, to the lake, and became absolutely addicted to the swimming, really. So ended up seeking lots of 5Ks and 10Ks events, and just went through there. I'm a bit of a lazy swimmer, so I sort of swim along and get in my zone, and it's almost quite meditative for me, swimming long distance.
Fabulous. I concur with that. I say that's my bubble when I'm swimming the long distances, 2.5 hours. It's my meditation as such. You know, when you're actually just thinking of nothing and breathing, but listening to the water. What benefits do you see, Cath? You know, you feel from open water swimming. That's different from swimming indoors.
Yeah, swimming outdoors, it's completely different. For me now, I hardly ever swim in the pool. I do go on a Monday evening. I'm trying to do that to get faster, because like I just said, I'm a bit of a daydream swimmer. But when you're swimming in the pool, you know, it's up and down. It's the same black white line. You're turning every 25 meters, hitting the lane ropes. It's just like, and I don't really like the smell of chlorine anymore, and my skin tends to itch from it a lot. And I get very bored pool swimming. So open waters it was just amazing because there's so many opportunities. I mean, you can swim in the sea, you can swim in the river, you can swim in the lake, and there's always so much to see, and it actually gives you that opportunity to venture outside and find new places as well. Because if I'm going anywhere in the car, I'm constantly on Google Maps looking for bodies of water, or on social media posting, I'm going to be, I don't know, in Dorchester this weekend, is there anywhere I can swim? And that's the real beauty of open water swimming, and it's increased so much in, you know, the last, I think 2 years. They said it's gone up something like 300%. Whereas when I first started, it was a little bit more difficult to find people to go swimming with, especially in the winter. I couldn't find anybody to swim in the winter until I discovered my small group of friends. But yeah, it's just, I find it an adventure swimming outside.
Fantastic. Yeah. And would you be able to talk about the cold water immersion and its benefits? I've seen a photograph of yourself in a bathtub full of ice, and you're smiling.
Yeah, I know. I'm smiling in a bathtub. Yeah, because there was a big camera on me. But yeah, the cold water immersion for me. I don't as much like the sitting in the bathtub of ice. I did do it for my swim in Antarctica to acclimatize, and really it was a mindset game for me because I didn't like it. I was just having to sit in there to sort of acclimatize my hands really as well to the cold water. But swimming in cold water is completely different for me. I started in 2015, and I've done loads of different activities, you know, fitness things over the years, but I think cold water swimming is going to stay with me for life. I'm absolutely addicted, and the reason I'm addicted to it is because when I said to you, when I swim in open water, I'm a bit daydreamy. I sing in my head, but my head's still really busy. I can still be thinking about, what have I got to do later? You know, who's picking up the children? What have I got to do for a meeting tomorrow? Whereas in the cold water, it's really about it's kind of mindfulness really, because you're there in that moment, and the only thing that you can concentrate on to be safe is how you're feeling. So that for me just switches off everything else, and I'm just there, the water, the cold water and me. And because of that, I just feel completely reset when I go out. I call it my reset button. And it's really, and now the water's warming up, I'm losing that and my mind's drifting again. But a reset button, yeah, people will hear me saying all the time, it's my reset button, and it's for that reason. My head is so busy, and it's only that time that I spend in the cold water where I have to shut off everything and listen to how my body's feeling. It's just, yeah, I find it really, really addictive, and I'm on a complete buzz after. You know, the endorphins are running around, and some of my friends get tired, but I get really re-energized by it. I'm a bit like Zebedee when I come out from a cold water swim.
Yes, and I watched the video where your partner is saying that you come out and you're absolutely kind of, well, buzzing, whereas others might come out and sort of like say a few kind of words like, oh, I'm glad I'm out of it, and oh, you know, but you are absolutely buzzing when you come out of your open water swims. And when I talk to my open water sort of experienced people, they say they couldn't swim anywhere where they can't see the bottom. Would you have any tips for those people who, how to help them overcome their fears or phobias to gain sort of confidence to swim outdoors?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, to go to somewhere where you can't see the bottom for your first ever swim would be really daunting for anybody. So it's choosing somewhere where there's maybe a beach that you can go in off. You know, there's a few places, if I can think off the top of my head, like Lake 32. I went to Queensford Lakes the other day, and they've all got lovely beaches where you can stay in the shallow and the water is really clear and you can see the bottom, and you can stand up at any time you want. So it would be to make sure that you seek you know, a venue or a swim spot that you know is going to be shallow enough and, you know, clear enough. The pond that I swim in, you can't see the bottom in it at all, and it's quite sludgy underfoot. So my recommendation would be choose your first swim spot carefully, and if you can, to go where they do an introduction to open water swimming. You know, they're popping up all over the place now, and you really need to have that knowledge. Or, you know, if you can't find a swim spot, Kerry Ann Payne runs a company called Straight Line Swimming, and they've got a database of open water swim coaches. And it's really, you know, if you can't afford to do it as yourself, do it with a group of friends, or find somebody. I always say, do your own homework. So, you know, Outdoor Swimmer magazine, they've got an online presence as well. The Royal Life Saving Society, the RNLI, all of these places are knowledgeable people, because there's a lot of information out there that's wrong. So yeah, do your reading, and if you can, find a venue and make sure it's one that's got a beach or somewhere that you know has got clear water. Some seas, you know, our sea in Wales, there's not that many that you can see. Once you go down the Gower, they're very clear. Yeah, but just be wise where you choose your first swim spot.
And would you say it's advisable to swim in groups rather than just going out on your own?
I would never swim on my own. I have swum on my own, and the very next day I swam with a friend, and I was rolled by a wave, and I was injured for 9 weeks. Now, had that had happened when I was swimming on my own, yes, I would have been okay because it was a busy beach, but I was in a pretty bad way. And I've also swam with a friend that unfortunately has broken her ankle on the way to the water's edge. And so many things can go wrong, even if you're not swimming with somebody. I normally have a swim buddy. You know, my partner will stand on the side in the freezing cold. I just don't think it's safe. It's not a good practice to go swimming on your own. And yeah, if you can't get somebody to come in the water, just get them to come along and walk along the bank, or keep an eye on you from the shore. And
a double safety aspect is the tow floats, very highly highlighted, multicolored tow floats. Do you use tow floats? Or?
I use a tow float. I use a swim secure donut one if I need to take my keys with me, or just a normal one if I'm in an event. And a lot of events now make them compulsory. Certainly in the sea, you know, my partner says I have a pink one, and he always comments that you can see my pink one above anything. And a couple of sea swim spots that I swim now, the RNLI actually asks swimmers to please wear them because of boat traffic, and they're not a safety thing. But if you do need to stop and rest, they will hold your body weight. Just, you know, if you get a little bit of cramp, you can stop and rest on them. And yeah, they're not expensive, and quite honestly, they last for years. I've still got my original one from about 10 years ago. Yes, the pink has faded on it, but I've still got it, and I think it's a must for any swimmer. And the other thing about not swimming alone is it's really good fun to be, you know, with your friend. I have as much fun, you know, at the moment the weather's warming up and we're able to sit around after a swim and have a cuppa and a cake and, you know, a bit of a laugh. Whereas in the winter and with lockdown, when, you know, everybody was in masks and in their own cars, you know, we kind of lost all that because it was so cold. You literally got out your swim, got yourself dressed, once you stopped shivering, drove home. So it's really nice now to have that time with your friends. And I also find, you know, we all sort of do our own swim. So sometimes I do head up giggling and swim in with everyone, and other times I get in and do my swim. But that's really nice. It doesn't matter, you know, we all just meet up at the end, regardless of whether you've swam 2 meters or 2,000 meters.
Brilliant. And people often believe that they can't do things, you know, without even trying. I wonder if that was something that you thought of, that when you considered the ice mile. How did you overcome, if you did have any self-doubt at that time?
Yeah, well, I always do things, and I always say, give it a go, because you'll never know unless you tried. I have got a bit of a crazy thing that I kind of tend to do them twice before I make up my mind. So I did a bungee jump twice, and I knew on the first bungee jump I hated it. On the second one, I'm never ever going to do one again in my life, but I tried. But it was the same with the cold water swimming. When I did my first swim, I got out and I was shivering, and I really didn't know. I was like, I wasn't sure. But the second time, I got all the buzz from the endorphins, and I knew that I was instantly addicted, and I just kept going and going. So as for self-doubt with the ice mile, I trained so hard for this ice mile. You know, I'd been winter swimming then for 4 years probably, and I was going to the pond. I hadn't realized how much I'd been training until lockdown hit, and I couldn't swim anymore when we came back. But I knew I could do it, because I had doubt because I'd swam three times actually, a kilometer in 0 degrees water, but I'd never done a mile. And with the ice mile, a lot of the difficulty comes between the sort of 1200 meters and on, because you know the body starts to fail and hypothermia starts to kick in and people lose their swim. So I really didn't know, but in my mind I was like, Cath, you can do it. And on the trip, I was being told that I would have to do the swim, not by everybody, by a couple of people, that I'd have to do the swim in half an hour. Otherwise, I would be stopped. But I knew that I couldn't do it in half an hour. So the night before, this was really starting. It was time to play mind games with me, really. And I was like, look, I can't swim a mile in half an hour. The quickest I've done it is 31 minutes. So I know that I'm going to be 31 to 36 minutes. Anyway, as it happened, Jay, the expedition leader, was like, look, don't worry about it. They will be watching your swim stroke, and you will only get pulled if your swim stroke falters or you look like, you know, you're in difficulty, and then you'll be pulled out. I said, fine. So my good friend Jane, it's really important that you support yourself, surround yourself with supportive people, because my good friend Jane took me aside that evening and she gave me a really stern talking to and reminded me about how much work I had done, and you know that I was so capable of this, and it was really what I needed to hear. And it kind of made me really determined that yes, I could do it. And that's what I was doing the whole swim. I didn't feel cold. I was completely pumped with adrenaline, I think, right up until I'd finished the swim and walked up the steps on the boat, because that was something that I really wanted to do. I didn't want to be in a state of recovery that I couldn't walk after my ice mile. So yeah, it's really funny. I mean, self-doubt, it's always there, isn't it? It's just I think once you start, keep going. You know, my partner will say, I get nervous about training swims, I get nervous about I got so nervous about speaking to you today. But it's like once you start it, it's like, yeah, just keep going. But I think it's a natural response, isn't it, to have some self-doubt and nerves.
I'm a heart attack survivor. Almost 20 years ago it happened, and I survived, and I genuinely believe that swimming has helped me both physically and my own mental well-being. I've done about 15 swimathons in the last 20 years or so, 2.5K, 5K. Absolutely feel that that's made all the difference. What are the key health benefits, would you say, to people to get swimming either indoors or outdoors and open?
Yeah, I mean, swimming is just an absolute brilliant form of exercise, both physically and for your mental well-being. You know, I've always swam. It's something that I've gone to. It's it just de-stresses you and relaxes you. And you know, a really good thing about it is it's not weight bearing. So you know, your body's supported 90% in the water. You also have to work harder in the water. So if you're doing a 30-minute swim in the pool, that's equivalent to 45 minutes on land. Winner. It uses, you know, all your muscle groups. And also, if you've got any joint problems or any niggling injuries, you can still swim because, you know, the water's supporting you. I always feel energized after a swim. And yeah, I was thinking about this last night. Yeah, another benefit is you don't get hot and sweaty unless you go to some of my swim training classes, isn't it? So, but yeah,
does it matter? Sorry, but in there, does it matter how fast you swim?
it doesn't matter at all. That's the good thing, you know. It's not about pounding the lanes, you know, even if you're, especially, you know, with the cold water stuff as well, you know, the stuff that they're saying around cold water, boosting your immune system, reducing stress, helping you sleep better. These all go for, you know, pool swimming as well. But, you know, you only have to do a short dip or a short swim session. And it can be a leisurely swim, you know, you don't have to go and be pounding up and down, you know, which I was joking about when I do a training session. You know, they can be quite tough, but you don't need to do that to get the benefits of swimming. You know, it can be a leisurely swim with your friends. I've done too much of that this winter. I've done lots of chitty chat. We swim, but we're swimming and talking, and then I'm doing doggy paddle, and yeah, but it's just how you feel afterwards. It's just it's a really good all-round thing that anybody can do. And, you know, back to the first question, if you can't swim, you know, it's never too late to learn.
Fantastic. And what lessons would you take from open water swimming into the rest of your life?
Yeah, I would say never give up. You are stronger than you think. I'm just like, just keep swimming, just keep doing. And last week I'd been struggling a month or so ago with just general mojo, and I hadn't been going swimming because I was just feeling a little bit low. So I just thought, right, I need to do more of what makes me happy, and that's swimming. So because I've met such a large group of friends through swimming, it was great. I was able to sort of message a few people and say, are you going swimming? And they're like, yeah. So I made a really big effort to say to myself, if I've made a swim plan to go with swim friends, then I have to stick to it. And I've been doing this for 2 weeks now, and I'm feeling so much better because I'm back doing what I really love, you know. But sometimes when you stop doing things and you lose your mojo, it can be a little bit tough to get back started. But yeah, that's the beauty of you know, swimming. And if people want to try open water swimming now, you know, like I say, even there's a lot of venues that do introduction to open water swimming, or they do buddy systems where there's somebody there, or like I said about the swim coaches. Even if you just put on social media, does somebody know a swim venue or a coach in the area? And then you've got I think once you've done your own little bit of research and you've got, you know, good information, there's some really amazing groups out there. You've got the blue ticks swimmers, the mental health swims, and I think these groups are popping up everywhere, and that's who I've been swimming with this week, you know, the blue ticks in my local pond, and it's just been incredible. It's just been so nice, and it's really brought back the love of why I love open water swimming. So yeah, everybody's in a really good place now if they want to start, because it's just boomed massively.
You know, you mentioned the word reset. It's swimming as your reset button, but you also mentioned not to overcook the buzz, the addiction. Could you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the reset button for me, the reason I call it my reset button is when the water's like probably under 8, I would say, my brain just switches off. It actually, until you acclimatize to it, and even when you're acclimatized, it still hurts to get into those temperatures, your hands and feet. The pain can be quite excruciating. But for me, because I'm having to concentrate on how my hands are, you know, how's my breathing, you know, am I starting to feel my strokes change? All those sort of things mean that I have to focus on myself. So my busy brain is shut off, and I'm just there thinking about what I'm doing in that swim. So when I get out, I feel whether I've swum for 5 minutes or 20 minutes, my brain has been absolutely restarted. So like Control Alt Delete on the computer, boom, right. Whatever I was thinking about before the swim is gone, and I haven't thought about it during the swim. The reason I say overcooking it is it's really difficult to know how long to stay in for. And lots of people ask me these questions, and there's a lot of poor information out there that people will talk about. You can swim 1 minute per degree of water temperature. It's absolute rubbish. When I first started, I swam 8 minutes at 12 degrees and I was absolutely frozen afterwards. So you can't do that. You have to listen to your body. I mean, some people, when they start, they literally can walk in, get up to their bellies and get out, and that's fine. And it's really just doing your own swim and never comparing yourselves with others, because if somebody's swimming 10 minutes but you can only swim 5 minutes, you swim your 5 minutes and get out. But unfortunately, lots of people do overcook it. They overcook it for a couple of reasons, really. Sometimes because they're trying to challenge others rather than do their own swim, or just they haven't quite worked out how much is enough for them. So I always say, rather than overcooking it and having a really bad experience after, is to always get out knowing that you want more. That's the top tip. So if it's a minute and you think, I'm feeling really good, but I should get out, you get out then. Because as soon as anything changes and you start to feel like you could stay in there forever, you've overcooked it. It's too much. You should have been out well before. And it's very hard to say to people what that time limit is, because it's different whether you've eaten well, if you're a lady that's on a monthlies, if you're going through the menopause, if you've not eaten, if you've not slept well. There's so many variants. So it's really finding it out for yourself and listening to your own body and always getting out wanting more.
And my last final question I have, it's been absolutely fascinating hearing your story. You talked about you having a biological makeup to tolerate the temperatures and the distances, but many may not have that biological makeup.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think cold water swimming's in my blood because I swam in the river as a child, every Easter if the weather was good, every summer, and I also spent 2 weeks in the sea every summer holidays. I've gained quite a bit of weight since doing cold water swimming, where I keep seeing stuff that says it helps you lose weight. For me, it doesn't, but I think that's come down to, I used to do triathlon, so I was doing 3 disciplines. I was running, I was cycling, and I was swimming. So quite honestly, I think the reason that I've put on weight is I'm not doing the other disciplines. So I'm looking to go back running and also I've hit the menopause. So it's difficult. I know lots of people that haven't got a lot of body weight and can still ice swim, but they're generally faster. So they can do it, but they're fast, they're out. But it does help to have a little bit of extra body fat, definitely. But it's not, I think it is in your mindset. It is in, some people like going on hot holidays, don't they, lying in the sun. I could think of nothing worse to lie in the sun. Some people love running marathons, some people hate running. So it's really difficult. But I don't know about the body, but I do think that there is something inside somebody that they can tolerate the cold more than others. There has to be, just in equally the same way as some people love heat and some people don't. But I'm going to put it back to my childhood and swimming in the river. And everybody, when I was saying about losing weight before Antarctica, they were like, you don't need it. And I was like, yeah, no, I could lose plenty and still be warm enough. So I'm starting C2 5K again on Monday to try and lose the weight, because when I started I was a lot lighter and I could still do it then. So yeah, maybe it's just in my blood.
I've been in pools where I've seen somebody 3 times as bigger than myself, but absolutely incredibly doing the distances. So it really doesn't have anything to do with, you know, being the Mark Phelps or Mark Spitz sort of, you know, the body weight figure of a technical swimmer.
I agree. When I was doing triathlon as well, I loved triathlon. The running was the thing that I always found difficult. That's why I feel I need to challenge myself again to try and run, because I know it helps you. But you would see all shapes and sizes in triathlon, and the same as in swimming. And you know, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're dipping, if you're swimming. It's just doing what makes you happy.
Absolutely. Well, it's been absolutely fantastic. I'm ever so chuffed to be here speaking and sort of hearing your answers. Anne, I don't know whether you had any final questions or comments.
I mean, I do, Arun, and I know, I just to say, Cath, your energy, your enthusiasm, your joy of doing this has just come out of the screen at me. It's been incredible listening to you, and I'm now enthused about going for my swim in SciWorld tonight. So you've turned it round. But I suppose a question I had was, you I think you describe yourself as just a normal mum of two, and and you set yourself this massive challenge to swim, to become the first person in the world to swim a mile in the Arctic Circle. And I'm just curious to understand how you broke that down, and how you sort of moved from sort of doing what you were doing in your pool, as you described it, or as your pond, I think was the description, to
I wish it was my pond.
to going all the way to doing something as amazing as that.
Well, it's going to make you laugh. So yeah, I wish it was my pond for a start, but it's not my pond. So I discovered ice swimming, and then I started doing more events. So I never planned to get a world record. That was never in the makeup. What happened was, I went to Poland back in 2017 with my three friends that I was swimming with, Vicky, Rachel and Roz. We called ourselves the Dippy Dragons because there was nobody doing winter swimming then. And we did the first ever chill swim gala that we'd seen. Well, it wasn't the first ever, it was what had got me into it. I'd seen an advertisement for this chill swim gala in February 2016. And then we started training for that. The following year, then we decided to go abroad, and we went to Poland, and the pool was cut out of ice. It was amazing. And whilst I was there, I met Jay Kennedy, who was the expedition leader for Antarctica. So I didn't really see him much there, but then through social media, we started chatting. And then I got chatting to a lady called Jamie Monaghan, who is an absolutely amazing ice swimmer from the USA and an absolutely amazing marathon swimmer. And she's the first ever woman the first ever person to have completed this challenge called the Ice Sevens Challenge, which is swimming a mile in each of the 7 continents. And she swam in Antarctica, and I seen this video of her swimming in Antarctica in the sea, but it was flat calm. She could have been in a lake, and she's swimming along with all these icebergs, and she's such a beautiful swimmer to watch. And behind her there was penguins like dolphins just going behind her.
Wow.
And I seen this video, and I was like, I want to swim in Antarctica. And then it just so happened, like maybe a couple of weeks later, that Jay Kennedy had put out that there's this expedition to go to Antarctica. So I was like, yes, I want to go. And it was a lot of money. And he was like, have you got money? And I was like, no, I don't have any money. So this was over, I think it was about 3 years from when you'd had to show your interest to go. And then I swam the channel in that time, because the summer was coming, and I was wondering, what am I going to do when I can't winter swim anymore? So I'd met loads of different swimmers by this stage, and loads of people that have done the channel. So I was inspired to swim the channel, because it's something I told my Uncle Freddie I was going to do when I was a young child. And I was lucky, I had sponsorship for that swim. But when I went to see the company about it, I kept saying to them, I really want to go to Antarctica. So they were like, get across the channel. So luckily I got across the channel, and they agreed to sponsor me the same then to go to Antarctica. And I was fortunate to get sponsorship from Young Seafood as well. So what happened was, I was going to Antarctica literally on a dream, hoping that I was going to have penguins swimming behind me like Jamie did in her video. And yeah, so I was just going to Antarctica because I wanted to swim a mile in Antarctica, in the coldest place on earth, and just because I love ice swimming. And the very next day I would have gone again. I absolutely loved it. I was just like,
Wow.
I wanted, so it's, and the world record was just something that happened on the trip. Jay Kennedy had planned to go there and have this world record. He was the only person that was going to be swimming inside the Antarctic Polar Circle if our boat could get that close, because it would depend on the ice. And yeah, he wasn't very well, unfortunately, and it just so happened that my blood pressure came down first and I went first. But yeah, it's you know, with or without the world record, it's just, I say an achievement, but for me it was just the opportunity to go. I was so privileged to land what I say was a spiral of good luck, even to meeting James from the BBC to come and film it. But you know, people keep saying to me, no, you make your own luck, but I still pinch myself that I was able to go. And now I want to go to the Arctic, so I'm working on luck for that.
I was going to say what's next, but yeah, sounds brilliant.
It was just because I love it.
And I love the idea, and as you know, as Arun will attest to, cake and swimming go hand in hand, so we love that. And
Arun, I'm so pleased to hear that, you know, swimming's been your go-to, you know, for the last 20 years to keep you fit and well as well. That's brilliant. It's such a lovely exercise to do, you know. It's just so relaxing. I love it. Yeah, I'm a bit of a, when I'm doing my long distance swims, I just sing songs in my head and drift off into Cath's world.